Good day, everyone. How are you? This is Murray for another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show where I bring you stories, incredible champion, people who educate us, and share their stories so that we can be inspired and later on maybe implement whatever they share with us because their insight is very important for our growth, and that's what this show is all about. This show is about growth. This show is about bringing you a knowledge that you're not aware of, and making sure that you take this knowledge and bring it to the next level. Today we're going to the US, and you've probably seen my guest before. It's Maya. Maya is back, Maya McNULTY, and she's gonna share with us, the progress that she's made in her recovery with COVID, and most importantly, share with us the new venture that she started to help, anybody who went through COVID and make sure that they get back their wellness. So we're gonna talk about that today. As usual, I'm asking you to have your pen, your paper, take notes, and if you happen to be live, join the conversation, ask question, or give your insight, because your insight is also very important to us. So that's really what I ask you, because you know that we always have very insightful and interesting conversation, and it's going to be the same today. So let's start. Let's have a great conversation and see how Maya is doing, and so that she can tell us everything that she's done so far since the last time that she's been on the show. So don't go anywhere. We're going to start this show. Another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show that is brought to you by the Biray Telekima Global Leadership Organization.
Feel is important is if you just look at the word compassion, when it's behavior, it's something that can be learned, and it is something that we can embody through habits and through our daily actions.
Like, what can I do now with this all experiences that that I have? And for me, it's knowing who I am, believing in myself, and trust, and have confidence that yes, this has happened.
To get this idea that if we interject this wisdom intentionally, I call them needle movers. It's the needle mover that's missing.
I was getting my first computer when I went into undergrad, right? And so I think that stick with what you're passionate about. And if you're passionate about learning technology, you're in a great space, because technology touches every industry.
So good morning, Maya. Welcome to the Greatness Engineering Hour show. It's such a pleasure to have you back and to hear the good news. You look great today, and
Thank you.
so happy to host you the second time. But before we start, our conversation and get to know what you've been up to, I just want you to introduce yourself again and let us know who you are and what are the key things that we need to know about you.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be back. And I think this would be fun for your audience is if they go back and check out our other show to see how much hair I've gained since our last interview. And then my voice, I believe I did not have my voice fully back yet post-COVID. So I think that would be a really interesting comparison to see exactly what long haulers are going through. Now, since I've last talked to you, I've been out of the hospital, I think 2 times since we last connected. COVID is something that is not only invisible, but it sneaks up on you. One day you're feeling okay. The next day you're feeling tiredness, fatigue, body ache, vibrations and tremors. It's really, really hard. Insomnia. The migraines they're like I have one right now. It's terrible. It's hard to focus. Sometimes you just want to curl up and just wish this pain on no one. Just break into a million pieces. I remember when I was in the hospital and I couldn't walk or talk. I was on a ventilator and I had no idea what happened to me. And after being in the hospital for 69 days and asking God to take my life because I was in so much tremendous pain. It was like shards of glass throughout my body. It hurt. It hurt a lot. I could feel it in every morsel of my being in my skin. And now long haulers, there's more research being done since I last spoke with you and your lovely staff and team and your audience. There wasn't any, how should I say, insurance codes for long haulers. And since our last talk, I have helped advocate for that. And so on Monday, the 25th, I think it's July, it could have been even the 26th, whatever Monday's date was, the President of the United States, President Biden, signed into law that insurances must have codes for long haulers and that long haulers is now part and recognized as an American Disability Act, Americans with Disability, the ADA. So if you're in Australia and that probably hasn't happened yet in your country, where there's insurance codes that are being falsely put to say this is your symptom, and it truly is not. And there is a lot of learning curve. These insurance companies are starting to listen and hear, and now they're mandated as part of law to be able to have the right code for COVID. And so I was thrilled to be part of the advocacy for that. Now, my prior life, and thank you so much again for having me. This is exciting. My prior life, I did marketing and advertising and networked and spoke on global stages. I wrote a few books. The trajectory of my life was a lot of fun. But then God has actually slowed me down, gave me a new path. And I'm embracing that. I've had to relearn to walk, talk. I lost my memory for a month. I lost my voice for 7 months. I lost all my hair. I had to have therapy in home for 2 or 3 months, something like that. Outpatient therapy for 7, voice pathology for 7. I was on the cane for maybe 6 months, but I was on a walker for 29 weeks. I don't know what that equates to. When my doctor says it's time to graduate, I wasn't counting the months. I was just counting the steps, thinking, yes, freedom. And we think of freedom so differently as long haulers. Freedom to me is to be able to sleep through the night without having chronic pain that I never had before. I was completely healthy. I never had any prior medical conditions like most long haulers. Many of them say we had other comorbidities, and we did not. Many had, and many have not. But it is true. I mean, we're looking at kids now, long COVID kids, long hauler kids. So it's different. They didn't have any comorbidities, and they're suffering from long COVID, and it's only going to rise. I think I read an article that there were 26 or 23 children on ventilators in Maryland.
Wow, that's a lot.
That Maryland is up because of the Delta variant. Listen, it is none of my business if you take the vaccine or not. But when your children are being infected, and when you're walking around places, going out to eat, going to the movies, going to events, and you haven't had the vaccine, and you're maybe asymptomatic, like many people are, or that you've tested positive and you wouldn't know unless you had a blood test at your annual blood test for your physical, and then your blood test, and then be shocked, oh, I had COVID. And all this time, one person can give it to up to 400 people because it germinates. It's like multi-level marketing. That's what COVID does. It's terrible. And you should be ashamed of yourself if you're not protecting yourself. I don't care if you have the vaccine or not, but wear a goddamn mask to protect children, to protect people like me and other long haulers that are suffering for their last breath, their breath every day. I know that you've been so patient with me, Marielle, because I believe that both times that we had scheduled an interview, I just wasn't quite ready, and we had to wait until I was able to talk and sit here and be with you. I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for knowing and having this platform and audience that are listening to be educated. As a global leader, I think leadership is not only within your image, as my leadership coach, Sharon Bernstein, would say, but it's part of who you are, your logo, your brand. It's the enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is God, the God within. Enthuse the God within you. Go ahead.
I see there's a comment, there's a question actually for you here. Stella's
Sure.
watching from France. And she's asking you, what are your thoughts on compulsory vaccination? Because France just passed a law for, a sanitary pass. And so have you heard of it? And what are your thoughts for something similar in the US?
We do. We have the Excelsior Pass. So once you get vaccinated, you're able to submit and upload, and then you get like a QR code. So when you go to the traveling anywhere, airport, train, you can show your QR code and you're registered. And the vaccine has a number that's unique to your jab in the arm. And so, yes, we do have that here in the US as well. I'm not sure if the territories have opened for France to be able to travel to the US yet, or any other states. I know that there is certain, if you're like a job person, so that was your job that you traveled for international trades or whatever. I know that it's not open for everyone, such as like Canada should be open by September, but who knows with the Delta variant, that might be, the border might be switched. But people are traveling and they are doing things whom have been vaccinated with the Excelsior Pass, proving they've been vaccinated. However, the vaccine, then this is the misconception. I'll give a little schooling in a second. The vaccine does not prevent you from getting COVID, nor the Delta variant. The vaccine just prevents you from being hospitalized to severe length of time like I was, or many other, or even die. So here's the deal with the vaccine. The vaccine is known as an artificial antibody. And your natural antibodies, if you have gotten COVID, your natural antibodies is replaced by the artificial antibodies, which means that how you can still get COVID with your natural antibodies if you didn't get the vaccine, because many people say, oh, I've had COVID, I don't need the vaccine. this is the thing, just like the flu, you have, and we cannot compare COVID to the flu because that's just not accurate. What happens is you are not protected against all the other variants, like the Indian variant, the and the Indonesian variant, the UK variant, the Brazilian variant, Delta variant, the Zoe variant. You are not protected against those. You are only protected in your immune system for the one that you've had. When you get the vaccine, it replaces your antibodies with an artificial antibody, and now you're protected against all the other vaccines. I'm sorry, you're protected against all the other variants.
The viruses.
Yes, you're protected against all the other variants. However, it does not prevent you from getting the COVID, whichever variant that you're in. The state. It's based on like the state that you're in. So in India is the Indian variant, Indonesia is the Indonesian variant, UK is the UK variant, Brazil is the Brazilian variant. So it's just named after your country. But there are like codes that they use for scientific codes, which I could never remember any of them anyways. I mean, I can barely remember my own Social Security, and I'm trying to forget how much I weigh. So so I'm not even interested in knowing what the COV S2A CO2V is. I just don't even remember what the whole thing is. And then just the brain fog is terrible. I think you can see when I do my eyes, like I'm trying to push through and get the brain fog and the migraines out, just to push them in the back. It's hard. And for me, overcoming some of these challenges, I'm just, many say that we're warriors, right? People that have COVID are warriors and survived. And the people that have passed, we are remembering them. There is a global walk, national walk called March to Remember. It starts August 7th. And the goal is for people to create, and so COVID survivors for change is Chris Kosher is the person that's behind it, organizing, and I'll be hosting one myself. And basically what it is taking a step for the over 615,000 people that have died in the US. And there is a March to Remember in September, March to Remember they're doing in August as well. And I think October is the National Remembrance Day. So there's a lot of media surrounding COVID, and remembering the ones that have fallen. So in your country, this is what you can do. Get a small group together, of course, wear your mask and try to social distance, but I'm doing 30 people outside, and we're taking 615 steps. And we don't necessarily want to do more because people are like, oh, I'll walk 2 miles or 3 miles, but that just means there's more lives that have been lost. We want to be in remembrance of the lives that have been lost, not to say that how we're going to just be the superhero that we are and outdo ourselves. For me, I didn't think I could do the walk and participate because I was in the hospital a week and a half ago. My blood... my body, I don't know if you can see it, but these unknown bruises, see, they're all over my body, and they're also all over my legs. And here's the deal. If you have a vascular problem, it will be below your heart. If you have a neuro problem, it will be your entire body. And so when I went to the hospital, because I've been doing a lot of experimenting with what's happening with Maya. I'm literally a science project. And I questioned, do I need to see a vascular surgeon or a vascular person? Because my D-dimmer, after going there, they checked. And when your D-dimmer is high, that means it's a potential blood clot issue in your body. Now, my D-dimmer was high. And so we did CT scans and ultrasounds and x-rays. And I was hooked up to a heart monitor and stuff like that because of the heart palpitations. I urge you, if you are having any symptoms of that, it is not because you're clumsy like I used to be. it is actually something happening in your body from COVID. I do have them on both my arms. I don't know if you can see it on this one, but you can definitely see it on this one. And then it's on my legs and my shoulders. They're just black and blues, which it's just dead blood, I guess. Maybe it's just on the top, but I thought I walked into something and I didn't. I wake up with these black and blues all over, and they're kind of not painful, but I guess a blood clot is truly painful. So if you are feeling pain from these bruises, you need to go to the emergency room straight away. It could be a blood clot. And they will take your blood. They will take vials and vials, at least 7 vials of blood, to test everything. I don't want you to be scared. I want you to know that you're in good hands when they're doing that. As a COVID survivor, I've learned so much, and I've been advocating for so much different aspects for people that wouldn't know. People that are in tribal areas, people that are in other areas that are difficult to reach because they don't have a car or internet access. And so programs like these, Marielle, is helping people because it'll be able to be streamed, and they can go and say, wait, I have that symptom, or I have that problem. What should I do? Of course, we have the Facebook group, COVID Wellness Clinic, online on Facebook. And we did start the first in the world online program called COVID Wellness Clinic Online.com. COVID Wellness Clinic Online.com. And in starting that program, there's 3 areas that are really crucial to the healing aspect of a long hauler. That is physical strength, pulmonary care, and cognitive recovery. There are 5 courses within the course, each section, and then there's a bonus section, and we've even gamified it so that you can be able to get up and say, yes, I did that one thing. And it's exciting because all the different things, when we're suffering from brain fog or memory lapse, it's hard for us to be able to have a plan, right? They say plan to fail is fail to plan is a plan to fail, right? So it's kind of like, okay, here is the direction we're going, which is healing long haulers. But if I give you the GPS, but you don't put the right tools in, the right navigation, how will you ever get there? And so those are some of the problems that we solve. There will be hundreds of post-COVID clinics popping up, but they've missed the mark. When you go, because I've gone myself, when you go to the clinic, they do all kinds of tests, and they bring you and they tell you to come back in 3 or 6 months. Well, in 3 and 6 months, I've already been in the hospital 3 to 4 times in the ER. A lot can happen in that time. So, and you possibly could say, I'm in need of this or that because you've learned it here, or you've learned it from another talk that I've given, or a newspaper article, or someone else that you have witnessed go through this horrific disease and thrive and do well. Know that you're not alone. And warning, this is a disclaimer. Suicide is on the rise of people who are impacted by COVID, long haulers and long hauler symptoms. Being told it's in your head, or being told that you're never going to heal, is a severe problem. Medical professionals are supposed to give you hope, but not hopelessness. And your friends as well, and your family. Surround yourself with people that are going to lift you up and hold you higher, that you can actually be accountable for and to. If you haven't found that person, reach out to me. I will be that person for you. I don't want you to go through alone, and I certainly do not want you to end your life. I want you to be able to know that there's hope out there. And when you phase out of hospital care like I did, there wasn't a program, so I created one. There wasn't the American Disability Act for long haulers. So I formed a team, or a team formed, bonded with me. I was not the leader on it, but I was part of it, making history for long haulers to say, if you need help and support, if your organization company is not recognizing long haulers as a disability, they will now, because it is law that insurance codes, insurance companies, businesses, you cannot be redeployed, deployed, lose your job, or be demoted to a lower position, because it's all in the American Disability Act of Inclusion. You are protected, my friend. And that is some of the work that I'm finding myself doing to help not only myself, but you, my long hauler friends and community and family. There are thousands of people that reach out to me daily, actually, and it is hard to get through them. Yeah.
I can imagine.
And I just try to give hope wherever I can and tell my story, so that they know that how, if they're suffering somehow mentally, I mean, right now I'm doing this interview and I can feel my head like pounding, right? But I'm here and I'm showing up for you, because it's not about me. It's not about me telling my story that I was hospitalized for 69 days and on a ventilator, and these are my ventilator scars that I get injections for monthly because of the infection that still lives in my body. It's not about me telling my story anymore. It's about me telling my story to get you hope, to get in front of people, so that you have equal pay for your family when your kid or wife or husband or parent is suffering from COVID and in recovery, and you are fearing that you're going to lose your job. That is something that we are advocating for, that you will not lose your job because of COVID and having to care for a loved one. It is called the Family Paid Act. And I know you're in a different state, but your podcast reach, you're in a different country, you're in Australia, but your podcast reach globally. And maybe someone that's listening to your podcast will have the inclination or courage to be brave and to also start advocating for people in your, for long haulers in your state and country. I know that I'm doing it here, and I'm finding the right people who are on the same mission as I am, and we have collaborated. There's no jealousy or envy. There's only lifting up. I do not get mad or jealous because someone else is in the spotlight. No one wants to be in the spotlight for COVID. Get real. But it's dirty work that has to be done. I sometimes get disappointed.
So we're going to have a break, I think, to give you time to,
Sure.
to settle a little bit, because I can see that you're struggling a little bit with your
I appreciate that.
your breath, and we'll be back to understand a little bit more how you're helping people, with your clinic and the different groups that you've set
I'd love
up,
that.
and how it's going. So for those listening, my guest today is Maya McNULTY. She's been on the show before. As you can see, if you've watched the first show, she's better. She's much better. She was talking about her hair. Her hair is back, and but still, the recovery is long. And we're gonna have a break so that she can, recover, and then we'll continue this insightful conversation. I hope you're enjoying it. Do participate. Do ask questions if you need clarification or any information. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
It could take weeks, months, maybe more than a year to recover from coronavirus. It depends. For mild symptoms, these people recover at home. It usually takes a week, but it can take longer. The infection hasn't gone until their temperature disappears. But don't worry if the continuous cough hangs around for a few more weeks. But some people will still be very, very tired after the infection has gone. Even doing normal things like getting dressed or making a cup of tea will take longer and leave them exhausted. They need to get plenty of rest, eat healthily, and drink plenty of water. For serious symptoms, if someone's been ill in hospital and given oxygen, they'll feel fatigued and maybe short of breath when they get home. That's because the body needs to recover from the inflammation and scarring caused by the virus. The physical recovery usually takes between 2 to 8 weeks. But then there's also the mental health side of things. Being in hospital with coronavirus can be very distressing for many people, especially when they can't have any visitors. These patients will need help getting back to normal life and engaging with people mentally and socially, helping them with hobbies they love, doing things like jigsaw puzzles, or just talking to them. All of this will help. You should contact your doctor and use mental health services to help with this. For severe symptoms, these patients are admitted to a hospital's intensive care unit and put on a ventilator, and recovery from that can usually take 12 to 18 months. As well as the fatigue, difficulty breathing, and the poor mental health, these patients may have spent a lot of time in a bed not moving. As a result, they will be weaker and will have lost muscle, which takes time to build up again. Some will need physiotherapy, and it will be important they do any exercises they're given, and they'll need a lot of encouragement. A lot of intensive care patients also suffer from delirium, where a patient becomes very confused and more distracted than normal. Some will have flashbacks, and the most serious cases can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder. It can take 6 weeks to 3 months to get back to normal functioning, but it may take longer. As with mental health issues, support from loved ones will help people readjust, but GPs and local mental health services can also give help here too. Anything else? The Centre for Perioperative Care says keeping healthy makes a difference when it comes to how we're affected by COVID-19 and how swiftly we recover from it. Some health issues are beyond our control, but it says if we stop smoking, drink less alcohol, exercise more, eat healthily while staying a healthy weight, then you will usually recover more quickly from coronavirus.
So we are back. We are back with Maya, and as you could see, I think Maya, you probably recognize most of the symptom that she was talking about. But we talked about it at the last show. But what I really want to know is how are you helping other people through your clinic and also through the different groups that you've actually started online.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much. And that video resonated with me so well. I'd love to have a copy of it. It was a really wonderful video, and it does, in a nutshell, wrap up most of what is happening to long haulers, but it's a good first step for many to take. So thank you for sharing that video, and thank you again for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
It takes a village to do some great work. My mother always said that how, you were born from greatness and you have greatness inside of you. But then there's a Les Brown quote that says, you were born with greatness and you have greatness inside of you. I think my mother and Les Brown were probably friends. So your message is that you are greatness, as the show's all about. And it's difficult to create a program or even to say that how you want to be the founder of it, because you're addressing the problem that many people have died from. And you have to be stronger to take the punches and the jabs. Gary Vaynerchuk is a marketer that I follow, and he says, jab, jab, right hook. And I guess that's what I'm doing. I'm getting the jabs from medical professionals because I'm not a medical professional, but I'm a survivor, and I created this course by a survivor for a survivor. I know what you need because it's what I needed. And if you watched my story from A, and it's not Z yet because I'm still living and going through this, but I used the same formula to get my taste back, my smell back. I used the same formula to walk again, talk again, to go from ventilator to victory. I copywrote, or my patent lawyer will yell at me, it's copyright, my program so that it can get into the hands of universities, insurance companies, doctors, and post-COVID care clinics. I'm doing the work that I thought I needed, but it turned out that most people that I've talked to said they also needed it. So I'm sharing my gift, my talent. I never was in this space before, and I'm not a doctor, but boy, I have a PhD in Maya. I have a PhD in myself. We know our bodies more than anyone else does. You know your body when your body's tired. You know your body when it's not the way it used to be. I've had that question asked, actually. Do I want to be that girl that I was pre-COVID? And there's a lot of things I like about the girl I was pre-COVID. But now that I have a mission from God, and he saved my life when I passed, and I was in heaven with my husband's brother that I never met, Bobby. I swim in oceans and fields, walked fields to get there. It's a beautiful place. If your friends or family have died and they went to heaven, or know that they went to heaven, they're safe. They're in a beautiful place. And I told my mother-in-law, because Bobby died at 2, and my husband was only a baby. They're 2 years apart. They've never met, but Bobby received me. And I said to my mother-in-law, I saw Bobby because he received me when I was in heaven. And she said, how do you know? And I said, well, he looked exactly like a twin of my husband, and I was safe. I felt good. I felt calm and peace. And he looked, he never talked to me. He never walked ahead of me or behind me, just always every step I took, like an angel would, side by side. I also said, well, Bobby's not a baby anymore. Bobby's in his 30s. And she says, really? Well, I'm Hindu. My husband's Catholic. And I don't know much about the Catholic religion, but I guess Jesus died at 33. And so when you're an old man, you grow back to being 30 in your 30s. And when you're a baby, you grow up to be in your 30s. That explains why there were so many young people up in heaven. And now I'm thinking about it. But there are pets, there are children, there are women. There's a gate, there's flowers, and you have to swim through fields and fields of ocean or ocean fish. If any of this is resonating, I'm sure that you'll resonate if you've ever had that experience. But I also said to my mother-in-law when he was in his 30s, and she told me why. She says, I believe you. And then she told me why she believed me, because Jesus, God, is 33. I wondered to myself, why didn't I say he's 56 because my husband's 54? That still puzzles me to this day. So I guess I really was there, because I would have said he's 56. But I did not say that. I said he was in his 30s. So I believe I was there. And I know that I was at peace. The one thing that hurt me the most was when I came out of the coma in the hospital and I couldn't speak or couldn't talk or even hold the iPad or my cell phone. And the nurses would hold it for me, and they would, put it between 2 pillows so that it would stay up. Most of the times it would be on the ceiling. And my husband would talk to me and tell me how strong I am and how proud I am, how proud he is of me, and that I'm a warrior and I'm so strong, and he can't wait to come home and have me come home and cook for me and have a lovely dinner. And I missed those days. And and he would tell me how beautiful I am, and it would be the ceiling. But he would be telling the ceiling how beautiful I am. And when I came home, my daughter, who was in college, had to come home from college to say goodbye to her mom via Zoom. And that hurts me to this day, because I can relate to how many families did not get to see their families or say that they love them, even if it was to the ceiling, and how beautiful they are. My heart breaks every time I think of my daughter having to fly home from college during exam time, when she should have been in school taking her exam, and those kids got robbed of their graduations and their schools, whether it be kindergarten or college, knowledge. We can do better. We really can. We all have to do our part. We can put this disease behind us. We can partner with organizations like I did, whether it's COVID Wellness Clinic online or Survivors Corp or COVID Survivors for Change. There's so many groups now. Before, when I got out of the hospital 17 months ago, there wasn't anything. And so I started to create my own. And then I met Survivors Corp and COVID Survivors for Change. And through these partnerships, which are free, we were able to talk to NIH, CDC, the World Health Organization, Congress, Dr. Anthony Fauci, President Biden, President Trump. We're making history. It's not the kind of history we wanted to make, but we're doing it for humility and humanity. A lot of this has been done using our own fund, our own time. And I'm definitely offended when people say, oh, you're making a ton of money off this thing. That's not how I look at it. That's insulting, and it's also ignorant and arrogant. No one is making a ton of money off of this thing. This disease is killing people. That's the fact. And we're doing the best we can to find programs because the healthcare system isn't moving fast enough for long haulers to thrive. The government isn't moving fast enough to hear you, to be with your family at night when you have an empty seat at the table. As an entrepreneur, I would be the person that would pull a seat or bring my own folding chair to the table because I wanted to be in the conversation. And sadly now, I don't have to really do that as much because there's a seat available at every human's worldwide table. Every family, there's a seat available because they want to have that conversation. They want to have that love. They want to have that hope. In rural areas, it's difficult to have internet service. In rural areas or tribal areas, it's difficult to have areas where doctors or pods that come in for vaccine to get a jab in the arm, or even to have PPE, protective wear, protective equipment for nurses and doctors, or for anyone that maybe delivers food, right? Meals on Wheels, camps for kids. They all need these protective wear. The work we're doing is not the work of anybody but ourselves, of the people. It's not the government's work. It's not clinical or the insurance. It's work because we said, let's do our part. We raised our hand. And there's a lot of backlash with that. But as the show is called, the Greatness Engineering Hour Show, we all have greatness inside of us. And in order for us to triumph and be greater than great and better than good, we must show up. Show up and not give up. I know that's what I'm going to do. And I'll take the punches and I'll take the jabs. In fact, I'm getting the black and blues without needing them. So it's just part of living. And I'm pumping through it. I'm pumping through this life. It's kind of like going to the gas pump and filling up your car with gas. Well, for me, every day, talking and telling my story to save one life, or to share my story to encourage somebody to not give up and end their life, that's the fuel I need. I'm not like a hero or a superhero like doctors and nurses and the people that have developed the vaccines. There are earth angels on this planet. But I'm going to do my part, and I think I challenge everyone to find something in your community, even if it's for this walk that's coming up, March to Remember. There's one in August, September, and October. Just pull together, wear yellow. Yellow's the color that they've given for hope. And baby blue, and a yellow heart. And in your community, you can make yellow hearts and give to people so that they can write the person's name on that they're walking in remembrance of. It's really simple. It is not something that you have to reinvent. And I'm not asking you to walk, 5-6 miles. I'm walking 615 steps here in the United States for the lives, each step for the lives lost. And I know that there are more, but I am not happy about that. I'm not happy. I want to be able to have a light and be a beacon for the ones that I can hold in my heart dearly. I implore you to do the same and help raise your hand to become an advocate in your community. A friend of mine who lives in Oregon has said that there's nothing here. I see that you're doing so many great things in New York. And I sent her the information. I said, here, it's called Mobilize. And it's an app that registers your walk so that other people can participate. So if you're going to have it in a park or keep it small or something, it's best to keep it small because of social distancing and other things and just being creative. For me, I'm keeping it small just because of one, social distancing. Also, to know that I'm doing my part. A lot of times we think it has to be this huge thing, and it doesn't. It has to be one step, one foot in front of the other to make a difference. It's for you raising your hand and saying, I want to be involved in being a part of that, and that you will be heard. Advocate in your community. You can do it. Start small. There are 13-year-old kids that are doing it. Employ your children to do it, to raise awareness. They'll be empowered. Being empowered is such an important thing to build your confidence. It also builds trust. People like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. They build relationships. For me, it's been easy to build those relationships with families because I understand them. What's difficult is the day-to-day activity that they have to go through. But I feel really good to know that I survived for a reason and a purpose, and I'm showing up in that way. So thank you for having me here today. Thank you for being a listener. Thank you for being an active voice in the community. Thank you, Marielle, for having me again. I hope they like, share, and subscribe to your channel. Share this video. Be a part of the community. Be the global leader that you were born to be. Everyone can contribute. Everyone can raise their hand and be somebody that inspires. You'd be surprised.
And that's important to say because we have a role to play, because sometimes I see people pointing fingers and saying all kind of thing, but we forget that we are part of this community. We have a role to play. We can do something. We don't have to stay passive. We can do something even if we're not, we've not had COVID. We have to be conscious that we can help. We can help, find a solution, or help somebody to heal, or help somebody to get to the right treatment, or get somebody to get the right attitude. And that's a very important step that's a very important mindset to have, that be solution minded, and really be aware of the role that we can play in the community, and understand that that it's actually about humanity in a way. It's not about anything. It's really about humanity. We are part of this, uh, we are human, and we work in communities. We are connected in a way, and we've seen that with the pandemic, and we need to have a collective, to have a collective action to be able to fight
Yeah.
this disease, and really, position everybody in the best, in the best environment. So
Yeah. So
go
I
ahead.
wanted to say too that how, like anything,
Mm-hmm.
when you start out slow, right? And you might not get the result that you're looking for straight away, but don't give up. Keep going. Keep going. Don't give up. Your community needs you. There's so many times I've went up to bat and I've striked out. 17 months in now, I'm not giving up. So don't give up. We can't hear you.
Yes, so start small,
Marielle, there
don't
you
give
are.
up. So it's like everything in life, it's not a straight line. You always have to keep going forward, whatever happening, especially in terms of challenges. Use those challenges actually as stepping stone to go to the next level, and that's what greatness is all about as well. We, like you said, we all has this greatness inside of us, so we are unstoppable. So we have to behave as unstoppable people and keep going, even if we stumble, even if we fall. We have to continue, and and really push forward. So I'm going to have another break before we conclude on this beautiful show and beautiful message, because I think those are very important message regardless of, what's going on. It's just those key message for, a powerful life, and, a life where you of significance in a way, and that's very important to remind all of this. So don't go anywhere. I see that there's Pat here. Pat is watching. Hey Pat, thanks for tuning in. She's watching from South Africa. Thanks for being with us. It's a beautiful conversation today. I hope that you enjoy it. But let's first, have another break before we leave the platform. And I know that, we there's so much to say, so much to share, but we'll get the opportunity again to, in a way, bring you back if we need to. So don't go anywhere. We'll take a short break and be back. So we are back. We are back with Maya, and with, I'm so inspired today. I was at when we had our first show, but yeah, I'm again, so inspired by what you do, and I can see that you're shining today. The hair is back. You're getting better. The recovery is really getting strong. So, my question for you, you've been doing all this work, bringing solution, pushing for, for collaboration, and to be able to help people in a way, because you were saying that it's kind of your mission right now to really push forward and help people. So what is the message that you want to leave us with, looking at what's happening right now, and looking at, back at what you went through? What are the message you think that we should be aware of, and there's a message that you want to leave us with?
First of all, Marielle, thank you so much for having me on the show, the Greatest Engineering Hour show. And I hope that your audience learned a lot today, that they too will go out and make the impact and difference that they're looking to make. For me, I always thought I'd be leaving a legacy of some sort, but now it's just about impact, and I'm on God's plan. It is okay to be on another person's plan. I know a lot of times people think they're in control, and they're in control of themselves. But how do you bring out greatness in you? Is it through humility? Is it through legacy? Is it through human kindness? How are you bringing that out? What do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known as a COVID survivor? I don't want to be known as a COVID survivor. I'm a COVID survivor. I don't want to be known as a COVID survivor. But I do want to be known as somebody that inspired, someone that gave hope, someone that was creative, someone that fought for the people with humility. I'm not that person that I used to be. I'm not her anymore, and I'm embracing that. I'm realizing that how, even though it's an elephant, this disease is an elephant, and if any of us tried to eat the whole thing, we would vomit, we would get sick. I don't want to be that girl. I want to take one bite at a time and do my part. And that's what I'm asking you guys to do. Let's take this big, huge elephant, this beast, and dissect it one at a time. And that probably is a bad analogy, because if you're an animal activist, I don't mean it in a negative way, because we have to watch the things we say, but it's just an analogy. It's they say eat the frog first. Eat the frog means that you have to do the hardest thing first. Mm-hmm. So let's go with food, because then nobody will be offended. Everybody likes food. So, so if you were to eat a pie and throw the whole thing in your mouth, you would gag and vomit, right? There's no way that you could eat a whole pie all at once. But if you broke that pie down into little pieces, you would be able to not only savor every bite, but enjoy it. So as you're blazing trails and you're working in your community to help organizations, you don't have to go at it alone. You can partner, you can cross promote, you can sponsor, you can write a letter. Mm-hmm. There are things that you can do within your space. For about 3 months, I couldn't hold a pencil. It was too heavy for me. But I can push record on my cell phone and record what I was doing. And a lot of things I did was from my hospital bed, like write the program, COVID Wellness Clinic, the online program, wrote from my hospital bed. You can be the change that you like to see in this world. One of the quotes that I kind of coined, because it was what it is when I was in a coma. I couldn't see. I could hear. But I was in pain. And I could hear the nurses. I was a 3 assist, which means there's 3 nurses in the room at the time. And they said, oh, she has COVID. And I was thinking, I have that too? I didn't know they changed the name from coronavirus to COVID-19. So I thought I had that too. So I thought, oh my God, take my life. I don't want to have another disease. 2 things, what's happening to me? I had no clue. But this is what I thought while laying in my hospital bed. The vision is in my heart and not in my eyes. So let the vision be in your heart and not in your eyes. I'll leave you with that.
So powerful, so inspiring. It's amazing. So I thank you so much, Maya, for coming a second time to inspire us. And I'm so delightful to see you back, at least physically, get, to see that you're back to being Maya, and really looking good, because
Thank you.
that's really important. And I know the mindset is also very strong. We could see that during the hour that we just spent. And I really, hope that the audience, and I know they've been I see that Pat has written, the vision is in my heart and not in my eyes. Yeah, that's a very powerful statement. And Maya, you are phenomenal, inspirational. I knew she's always, very inspirational. And
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm I'm really, happy to have you here, and really, commend you to take the time and your precious time to just share, this wisdom, and share what you're doing to uplift other people, because you didn't have to do that, but like you said, it's your mission now. And that's what you're gonna do, and that's what you're doing. And there've been some tremendous milestone recently. So, now the insurance work that you've done, things have been passed at the highest level, at the president level, which is, you making an impact. And I still remember last time what you were saying is that, COVID. I can't remember how you said it. You said COVID happened to me. It didn't, come to
Yeah.
destroy
So
me. And
yeah, COVID happened for me, not to
for
me.
me, yeah, not to
Yeah.
me. And I was really, wow, this is really good,
Hmm.
to see, to use whatever you have to make it positive, and to look at the positive into the challenge. So thank
Yeah.
you again. So how do people get to connect with you if they want to? I know I have several several addresses here, and
Yeah, here, I'll make it easy for you.
mm-hmm,
So, COVID Wellness Clinic online, you can go to the Facebook group, COVID Wellness Clinic.
mm-hmm,
And it's a private group, and we give a lot of really good nuggets in there and hope, and we share with humility. And
mm-hmm,
if you are listening and you just need more care, go to covidwellnessclinic.com, covidwellnessclinic.com, and you can
mm-hmm,
see the survivor stories, and you will also be able to be part of the program. Um, and I believe now, because it's part of the American Disability Act, if you do purchase the program, you can submit it to your employer or to your
mm-hmm.
insurance company for reimbursement. They're not quite there yet, but eventually they will be. So hold on to your receipt.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's about, taking baby step, but the impact is coming. It's gonna be
Mhm.
a great breakthrough. So thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all the people who've been able to tune in, live. And please share the video. It's a very important message that, and key insight that Maya shared today. So it would be a shame that, you keep it for yourself. Just share, and make sure people, understand that. And if you want to know a little bit more about what Maya is doing, please go into the COVID Wellness Clinic group, and you can also look, what they're doing as well on the website www.covidwellnessclinic.com. And then Maya is also doing other things. She has her own businesses as well. So I've put the website here. So UpTheBiz, which is one of her a venture, and then Maya, your personal website. So it's been amazing, and I'm gonna be back on Monday with another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour, and we're gonna go to Nigeria. We're going to have a very young, bright, bright guest, and he is amazing as well. So we're gonna talk about global civility leadership, and this young man has achieved so much. I know you're gonna like him. So make sure you tuning again on Monday to be inspired, to learn, and to be able to go to the next level of your greatness. So until then, I'm just gonna I wish you a great weekend, and please enjoy, and make sure that you're grateful, because as if you could listen today, life can be very, very, unpredictable. So make sure you enjoy your life, and make sure you're grateful for what you have. So until then, I'm just gonna say bye bye, and God bless you all.